Our next founder, much like Dushyant, is also a successful serial entrepreneur. He's founder of one of the largest recruitment platforms in the GCC, Gulf Talent. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to Yasser Hatami, who's going to tell us more about his latest recruitment venture, Bidayati, excuse me.
Thank you, Sid. Okay, I hope everyone's seeing my presentation and myself. Great to be here. Thank you, Sid, for the introduction. It's Yasser Hatami. I'm the founder of Bidayati, the youth employment platform. I'd like to start by sharing a personal experience which I had last year when I was on a visit to Khobar in Saudi Arabia. I was staying at a hotel, and the lady who was the receptionist in the hotel, she was a young Saudi lady, spoke very good English, and she told me about her experience finding a job. She recently graduated. She was unemployed for 6 months while actively looking. She tried different portals. She didn't have any luck, and eventually she found a job as a hotel receptionist. The job was shared with her by a friend on Snapchat. It was interesting for me how, her experience and how she found the job. The same day, I met executives at a hotel nearby, also in Khobar. They said that they were looking for a receptionist who spoke English. They advertised it on LinkedIn, on Takat, and a couple of other places as well. They had no luck. They lost some money advertising. The vacancy was unfilled for 3 months. And they eventually managed to hire also a Saudi fresh graduate through a referral on WhatsApp by someone who was sent to them on WhatsApp. What struck me in that experience was there was a vacancy. They needed someone with certain skills and qualifications and a certain salary level. There was someone who lived within kilometers of that vacancy who was qualified, willing to take that role, but these two were not able to find each other. And that's immediately showed me that there's a major inefficiency in the labor market, in the kingdom in this case, but across many markets in the region and even globally. So what I described there is what we see across the board. If you look at the Saudi market in particular, the young people primarily look for a job not on LinkedIn or other job platforms. They look for a job on Snapchat, on Instagram, on WhatsApp, Twitter. These are places where they go to first. And as a result, employers also are having to go there to find people. While they do get results sometimes, eventually, these are slow processes. They're inefficient. The vacancies tend to remain vacant for a long time, even if they don't require particularly high level of qualifications. Many candidates remain unemployed for several months, and at the end, sometimes they end up taking a vacancy which they are not really interested in as a compromise, and which leaves both parties unsatisfied. Now, why is it that traditional job boards, traditional platforms are not working? Two main reasons for that. One is the widespread use of smartphones. All the young people are on the smartphones, and that's everything they do is on that. And traditional job sites, while they may be available on mobile phones, they're not really built and created for mobile. So they're not ideal for the mobile platform. And second reason is that traditional recruitment relies on CVs, and candidates are expected to have CVs, to have experience, to be proficient in presenting that. And most of young people are not very well trained on writing a CV, which is actually a hard thing to do. As a result, we see that less than 1% of youth vacancies are actually advertised on job platforms such as LinkedIn or other online recruitment sites. And this is where Bidayati comes into play. What we have created and conceived and created is a jobs platform which does not require a CV. It's very simple to use on a mobile. Users, without any prior training, they can engage with it, register themselves, give their information within a few minutes, and have a full profile, which is sufficient to match them to the right jobs. There is no CV required of the candidate. There is no detailed job description required of the employer. It's available in the local language in Arabic as well as English. It has a powerful AI engine that does the hard job of matching candidates to the right vacancies. It has a location-based element where we know exactly where a candidate's home is and where the location of the job is. And we use that in matching the jobs to the candidates. So people primarily get jobs which are sort of within walking distance, if possible, or close to their home. And finally, it's not only for full-time jobs, it's also for part-time jobs, sort of gig jobs, and also internships. All the needs that especially young people might have. Since this launch last year, we've had good progress in terms of signing up some employers. So several employers, SMEs mainly, have used the platform, some medium-sized and a couple of larger ones as well. We have made partnerships with universities. King Fahd University in the Eastern Province, Princess Noura University in Riyadh have actually promoted this to their students as a way to help them find internships or full-time jobs after graduation. And we're also in discussion with other large universities in the kingdom. We've also been in discussion with government bodies who see value in the value that this platform can bring to the table in terms of the creation of employment for young people, as well as helping companies find talent. We've been appointed a partner for Munshaat to help the SMEs. Munshaat is, as you know, the SME organization in Saudi Arabia. They wanted us to help SMEs in Saudi find talent that they need faster and more efficiently. So as a result of all these, we've had good traction in terms of uptake by the employers. We've had over 200 companies by now signed up and having used the platform for their vacancies. We've had over 6,000 candidates signed up. I think 98% are young Saudis signed up on the platform and growing. And the critical thing is we have measured the success of the platform. So the metrics we look at, one is what share of the employers have shortlisted candidates. We see that 75% of companies have shortlisted at least 5 candidates on Bidayati. And critically, of those who've shortlisted, more than half of them have done so within 24 hours of posting the vacancy, which is quite unprecedented in the recruitment space, especially in the Middle East. And we've had a lot of compliments and positive comments and gratitudes from both employers as well as candidates, especially who have been able to find the talent they need or the job that they were looking for. A lot of those who find jobs is their first job after university or even while they're at university. How are we monetizing or planning to monetize this? So we are adopting a freemium model. Obviously, for candidates, it's free. For employers, initially, they can use it for free, a basic access where they can register, post jobs, and contact a small number of candidates. They can do that free of charge. And we expect a very large number of companies to take that up because there's no financial barrier to uptake. Then we have the basic level, which is primarily used by SMEs. Gives the main feature, which is the advertising vacancies and contacting the applicants, available, and they can have a higher limit on who they can contact. This is available at a relatively low cost. And then we have the enterprise solution, which has additional features. It's unlimited access to the candidate pool, and the monetization is much higher per company. About the management, myself, I'm the founder of the business. As Sid mentioned, I'm also the founder of Gulf Talent, one of the largest online recruitment platforms in the Middle East. I was previously a consultant with McKinsey. I have an MBA from INSEAD. I'm an electrical engineer by education, and also have a patent in the US for a domain related to HR technology. Gulf Talent has been a founding investor in the business, and the idea actually was incubated within Gulf Talent as a result of the gaps that we saw in the recruitment market, as I mentioned earlier. In terms of financial projections, we expect to reach just under $6 million in 4 years' time, and to break even in year 3. So to have a EBITDA of $2 million in 2024. These are based on assumptions about the market. It's about 1 million companies in Saudi Arabia, a majority of them SMEs, and based on the uptake we expect for each segment and the revenues that I mentioned. It's important to mention this is only for the Saudi market. We believe the idea has potential to grow well beyond Saudi, other markets in the region, as well as other markets outside the region who have similar sort of demographic profile, large numbers of young people, and high level of unemployment and demand by companies, as well as the affordability by companies to actually pay for a service like this. Now, while this is an enterprise, a profit-making enterprise, it also has huge social impact, relatively obvious given this domain. For young people, we help them find jobs faster, reduce unemployment, and increase their satisfaction by giving them jobs that actually truly match their needs and interests. For businesses, we help them increase their productivity by filling their vacancies faster, which is a real problem in the market. Get better matching candidates and therefore achieve higher staff retention, and also meet their Saudization targets. And this obviously benefits the country as a whole in terms of reducing unemployment, which is a economic as well as a social ill, and to reduce the financial burden on the state of supporting large numbers of unemployed people. Now, why is this a good time to invest in this space? Well, globally, HR tech and recruitment tech has been attracting significant investment over the last few years, and that's been growing quarter on quarter, both in terms of numbers of deals and dollars invested. An obvious question is, what about now that we have COVID? How has that impacted the market? The answer is there has been an increase in unemployment across many countries in the world, and including in the Saudi market. However, we also see that there is increased drive for Saudization because of the unemployment. So there's more pressure on companies, more incentive to go and hire Saudis, most of whom are essentially young Saudis in the job market. Candidates increasingly want to work close to their home so they don't have to commute and to avoid additional risk of infection. So local jobs is a significant and attractive element. And finally, because of cost pressures on businesses, more of them are looking for hiring younger workers, which are available at lower cost. In terms of exit strategy, three key possibilities. It could be a strategic player globally looking to acquire this business as a way to enter the Middle East market. We could have financial investors looking to acquire either the whole business or shares of the initial investors, could be family offices or other institutional investors. And finally, because of the nature of the business, there could be demand from state organizations whose mandate is to help employment, and they could see this platform as essentially helping them achieve their objectives. Overall, we see that Bidayati in particular, while there's an opportunity in the market, Bidayati is well placed to capture that. We have a product that's very well made, very easy to use, proven to be easy to use. We have a very sophisticated AI algorithm, which is not easy to replicate, and it utilizes millions of data points achieved through the partnership with Gulf Talent, which again is not easy for any other player to replicate. We've priced it low to remove any financial barriers to entry. We are first to market in the youth employment space, and we have a management team that has a long track record in the employment and recruitment space within the Middle East. Finally, in terms of the raise, we are planning, we have a funding target of just under $500,000, so $450,000 at a pre-market valuation of 2.8 million. As you mentioned, some discounts are available on that for a period of time. We expect this to get us through the next 6 months and meet our growth objectives, and we're planning to raise a larger institutional round in 2021, next year. How are we planning to use these funds? About a third of that will go into product development, slightly over a third into sales and marketing, and the rest, the support functions, admin, legal, finance, and IT infrastructure. And in terms of milestones we expect to achieve with this funding, we will be launching a native app. We'll be signing up 1,000 employers and 100,000 job seekers on the platform. That's the summary. Happy to answer any questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Yasser, and for telling us all about Bidayati and what you're doing. So we do have a question here. Can you tell us a bit more about your plans for geographical expansion? Is this likely to be focused on the GCC market, or are you looking to expand abroad quickly?
Yeah, so this platform is essentially filling a major gap in terms of matching young people to vacancies, and it's ideal for markets where there's large numbers of young people entering the job market every year. So it's not suited to every market in the GCC. Saudi is a very well suited market to that. Other markets like Oman and Bahrain, they are suitable in terms of the young people coming to the market, but the size is small. Egypt is a market that could fit well. Within Europe, we see some markets with large, similar to Saudi, large youth populations, high unemployment, and high GDP per capita. So Italy, Spain, those are two markets that we see opportunity in expanding this to.
Great. And then hold on, another one here. So okay, what is your main revenue generation activity?
So it's a subscription from employers is the main revenue.
Okay, fantastic. And who are your competitors?
So there's no one else doing exactly what Bidayati is doing. So a platform for employment of young people, and by young I mean sort of 16 to 25, 30. Anyone coming out of high school, coming out of college, or coming out of university, or maybe with a couple of years experience. There's no other platform doing that. specifically. Within the broader recruitment space, yes, there is LinkedIn, but as I mentioned, absolutely is not working for this segment of the market. Very few people in this segment get hired through that. Our main competitors are social media platforms. So WhatsApp, Snapchat, Twitter, these are the platforms we seek to substitute by what we've created in Bidayati. There are a couple of other sort of startups who focus on specifically on part-time jobs. They have a very different focus and very different business model. A lot of basically primarily they focus on blue collar. Bidayati is primarily white collar, but some blue collar as well. Those platforms focus on typically retail and hospitality, which is a very sort of narrow segment. They also will focus on demand. So if you want to get a part-time job and you need someone for come in every week for the next 3 months, then you wouldn't use those platforms. You would use Bidayati. If you have one afternoon where you have a vacancy, you just need someone for 2 hours, then you would use those platforms. So those are sort of very narrow, and we don't feel they really compete or really overlap with what we're trying to do. So in our space, we feel this is the only solution of this kind.
So just and then a sort of request for clarification here. So who are you charging, employees or employers?
Employers, yeah. So for job seekers, it's free of charge. Employers are the ones who pay. As I said, it's a freemium model, so basic access is free, but there's very limited things they can do with that. As soon as they want to really hire, they will need to get a subscription, either short term, could be 1 month, or it could be long-term subscription.
Perfect. So okay, I think there was just a misunderstanding there in the question. So I think we've cleared that up.
Sure.
What about advertising? Will you allow companies to advertise on your platform?
Yes, we would allow targeted advertising. We've had requests from, for example, government organizations who were running a competition, a boot camp for young people. They were trying to attack particular sort of segments to put them through a startup training and so on. So that's the most direct type of advertising we're getting requests for. There will be other things as well, like courses, education, and so on, which we see fits quite nicely with what we're doing and would be value adding to our users to add as well. Beyond that, just general, if you like banking, credit card products, those things, we might look at it, but we want to annoy our users by flooding them with unrelated ads. So in a very controlled way, we would be taking advertising.
Fantastic. So I think if there's no more questions for Yasser, I think we're done and we're ready to move on. So thank you so much, Yasser, and thank you for everybody that listened in and sent in your questions.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.